Welcome to the Creation Innovation Podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth King. Together, we'll have conversations with incredible human beings who have taken their creative outlet and turned it into something innovative. From people leaving the corporate world to be 8-figure entrepreneurs to people who have created books, created a family, or just creating to have fun in the world. We are all in a journey to create something amazing in our lives, and I hope that you find some inspiration of your own here. This is the Creation Innovation Podcast. Hey everyone, welcome back to Creation Innovation. I am so excited to have one of our Fertility Coach Academy graduates, Nina Cowan, on today. Welcome, Nina.
Hi, thank you. I'm so happy to be here today.
Yes, Nina is also an AADP certified coach through the Fertility Coach Academy. She is also a certified military spouse-owned enterprise, which I want to dig a little bit deeper into that, and the founder and CEO of Brookhaven Coaching. So again, Nina is out of Orlando, I believe, right? Is that correct?
I'm actually in Tampa, Florida.
Tampa.
So about
I say that all the time. I am so sorry. Okay, Tampa.
Okay.
But services women all over the country and, for that matter, the globe, in this amazing world that we live in now, that there are no boundaries, which is so cool. So you can find her online, but you can work with her anywhere that you are. And we'll get back to that at the end of our episode today. But Nina, tell our audience what brought you to coaching. First of all, how did you land up in our lap, for that matter, for Fertility Coach Academy?
Well, okay. So about a year ago, I was feeling kind of low. I had just had my daughter, and I knew that I wanted to service women in some way. After my long, drawn out, difficult experience with getting pregnant. And I met, I had a friend who was a life coach, and she did an intake on me to help me figure out what some of my core values were in order to just, lift me back up and remind myself of who I am. And after the 2-hour long session with my friend, I realized, oh my goodness, this is what I want to do, but for women that were trying to get pregnant. So I feverishly got on the internet and I started to research, how to help women that are trying to get pregnant. Like I didn't even know exactly what that was called.
I was just going to ask you, did you know fertility coaching was a thing at that point?
No, I had no idea.
Okay.
So I'm searching, and then I finally found, some different programs, including yours. So I was, just kind of looking through them and seeing what all they offered. And I hadn't decided on anything yet, but went to bed that night, had a dream that this woman who had cancer came to me and said, will you help me get pregnant? Like, she had been through chemo and all of that. My dreams are very intense. And
I just got goosebumps. Oh, I love that.
yeah, she came to me and said, and she was just pleading with me, please help me get pregnant. And I woke up from that dream and I said, that's it. I'm jumping on this. So I talked it over with my husband, and I decided on your program because you just had this, I don't know, you just had this thing about you, and you were very personal with me. And some of the other programs that I'd contacted, one of them, it took them like a month to get back to me. So that's how I initially got started. But like I said, I really wanted to help women because I had such a hard time staying pregnant. And I had a miscarriage in 2018 through natural conception. And then we started on IVF like right away in my 40s because I knew it's like, we got to get on this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my husband was in the military and was about to get shipped off to Africa. So we kept his sample here in Tampa, and he went away, and I tried on my own without him.
Which, I mean, only now is that even possible to say we conceived a child continents apart, right?
All right. I was bound and determined to get this thing done any way possible. So, yep, that's what we did. I didn't get pregnant right away though
Okay.
through IVF, and the my embryos were all tested and they were all abnormal, and
Mm.
felt defeated at that point. But then I started researching other clinics that were inexpensive, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just try this other clinic up in New York. They're less expensive, and it might be a little bit of a challenge to travel back and forth, but it was still going to be cheaper. And we tried. We had success.
Yay.
After my second frozen embryo transfer, unfortunately, fast forward 6 months later, that pregnancy ended in a stillbirth,
I'm
which
so
was,
sorry.
thank you. Oh, it was devastating. I didn't even know how to comprehend what had happened at that point.
Yeah. Had you
Um,
know anyone who had gone through that before?
yes, I was teaching at the time. I was a certified teacher for many, many years, and my principal at the time had lost a set of twins. So we kind of bonded over that
Okay.
fact. But other than that, that's all I knew. And it was just it was a hard road. And I had to lock that away in order to, get back on that train and try to get pregnant again.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are often in that situation, whether it's age, like for, people like us who started a little bit later, it's we just don't have the time to really stay in that grief in that moment because we need to keep going forward. And I think recognizing that it's not that you're not going to grieve for it, it's that you will come back to it in a minute almost, right? Like
Yes.
because the grieving process is so critical and so important to healing. But the reality of, and I don't know how old you were at that time.
About 43, 44, something like that.
Yeah. And for my losses too, I was in my 40s. It was like we just needed to keep moving, And so I think that's a different, not that it's much different for anybody, but I know if someone's in their 30s versus their 40s or even their 20s, right? It's all a different timeline, so to speak, and all a different um, experience of what you're moving towards and your timeline. And I often say for women that are in their 40s, it is a different aspect of the tape that's playing in your head of I don't have time, right? Is this the last chance that we have? When do we stop? When do we like throw in the towel and say that it's enough, right? Like we are at the end of our rope, so to speak, with doctors saying, "Oh, it's your age," and all the things that we hear all the time. For you, how did the age play into your situation? Were you like just like you said, bound and determined no matter what age you were? Did you have an age limit of, okay, when I get to this age, we're not doing it anymore? What was it for you that, or did you not have any of that?
Well, uh, I did not, for the most part, I did not have that train of thought. My thought process was, I'm a stubborn person. I'll admit that to the day that I die. I was like, I'm going to have a baby one way or another. This is going to happen for me. And right when I decided at about the age of 45, I said to myself, that's when I said, I'm not really sure how much longer I can do this. But at the same time, I was researching IVF in other countries. You know what I mean? So I was like 50-50 at that point.
To
Uh,
see what their perception of older women doing IVF, or what were you researching? Like, why would you go out to another country? What was the thought process there?
Cost.
Cost. Yeah. Okay.
It was cost. And,
Yeah.
I just, it was, my husband's in the military. I was a teacher. we weren't really hurting for money or anything like that. But at the same time, we had already spent, 40
Yeah,
grand.
it goes fast when you're on this road. Yeah.
Oh, it's very expensive. And I know
Yeah.
everyone knows that. And it just was, I was like, well, maybe I should go overseas. And, I had a bunch of friends rooting me on. I also had some friends that I had to cut loose
Mm.
because they just weren't supportive and really said some awful things to me. But like I said, I was bound and determined. And I thought to myself, wow, we've only got 2 embryos left. I think this might be it. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did one transfer in 2019 in November, towards the end of November, and found out Thanksgiving Day that we were pregnant. And I'm the type of person that I didn't want to wait three months, 12 weeks to tell
Oh,
anyone.
yes, right.
I was like, I am screaming to the rooftops. Everyone is going to know about
Yes.
this. And it was, I believe it was the night before Thanksgiving. I'm texting everyone and showing them pictures of and I told my husband, I said, I had initially taken a home test before my blood test because I'm like, I actually want to drink on Thanksgiving Day. So
Oh,
let me
right.
just prove to him that I'm not pregnant. And, and whoa, I was shocked sitting on the toilet going, oh, I had to wake my
Awesome.
husband up to tell him the good news. So from there, we went on to have our beautiful Haven. She's two and a half right now.
Mm.
Amazing little girl. She's so smart. And um, but the year that I had her, I knew that I still needed some healing to do. And so that's why I said, I was feeling kind of low and just not myself. And I did that intake with my friend. And I've recognized that I am actually healing by helping to heal other women and be supportive of them.
100%. And I think that that's a big, I'm so glad you mentioned that because that is a really big aspect of any type of coaching, really, right? Most therapists, coaches, whatever, go into that field of helping counseling others because of something that they've gone through in order to help heal themselves in a way. And whether they recognize it or not, that is what we're doing. And it's such a beautiful experience to see that go full circle in a sense, because there are little aspects as you're going along that you're like, oh, that reminds me of what I went through, right? And
Yeah.
and healing, having watched somebody else open up and bloom through helping them on their journey is so magical. And in that magic is where you're like, you just explode with joy. And in turn, that heals your own self. At least that's been my experience and a lot of the coaches that I've worked with through their process. Have you noticed that as well?
1,000%. Whenever I hear of a positive pregnancy test, even if they are not my clients or not, I start crying. It
Yeah.
is so emotional for me because I just feel like I've been called to do this kind of work because of what I went through. And God, whatever you believe in, has put me in this position because I learned so much about myself through this process and through helping other women. When I had my loss, oh my gosh, my friends were they came out and supported me like I was so amazed by it all, blown away, and thought, I want to support other people the way my friends supported me because I would not have been able to do this without them. There's just no way. And whenever I'm helping someone and coaching someone through their journey, gosh, I'm totally invested. My heart, my soul, everything within me is like geared towards helping them, realize their dream of becoming a mom.
Absolutely. And I always kind of equate coaching to a personal trainer because we are really in it emotionally, not, and more so than a personal trainer. But I guess I'm making the difference between somebody else that you might be seeing in a professional setting in that way. Like my whole family like has a party at our kitchen counter when we get a positive pregnancy test of one of my clients or somebody. It's a really, really big deal. And we celebrate that fully, right? And to your point of shouting it from the rooftops when you get that positive test, I am the biggest proponent of doing that because whether we're celebrating for a week, 6 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever it is, it's still such an amazing miracle that that moment has happened, right? And I always feel like, okay, we'll deal with the next step if it happens, right? But in this moment, we are going to celebrate to God, the universe, whatever it is, in gratitude and excitement for this little baby that's coming. And in turn, I think getting all of that emotional connection with the clients from a coaching perspective really just catapults their confidence, their empowerment on their journey, right? From going to feeling low and hopeless and helpless and where do I even go from here? And it's often a strain on their relationship, on their finances and all of it, right? And then you find somebody who's like your biggest cheerleader with huge sincerity of like, we're going to make this happen. And not only making it happen, I don't know about you, but a lot of the clients tell me is they just feel different on their journey. They just feel more at calm. They feel more peaceful. They feel more confident and almost like a passive confidence even, And so they often say like, no matter what the outcome is, I just feel better about it all. And then in
Yes.
turn, we get positive results, right?
Yes. And, so many wonderful things happen throughout their journey. And I've got a couple of a husband and wife, their partners and their doctors. They know a lot.
Yeah.
They know a lot more than I do in the medical field.
Right.
And then I just had a nurse that works at Moffitt Cancer Center who just got, she found out she was pregnant. And I have two other clients that are in the medical field already. And I said to one of them the other day, I said, gosh, you know so much. Look at what you're doing. You are already ahead of the game. You've got your thyroid check, your vitamins, like you're doing all these wonderful things, and then she goes, but it's just nice to know that I have someone to talk to and be supportive of me throughout this process.
Yeah.
You know,
And I say all the time, people probably are sick of hearing me say it, but there's research that shows you actually are more successful when you're doing this cognitive behavioral work. If you're working with somebody, you're talking through that and call it what you will. We can talk about it all day long, how great we think it is, but it's a Harvard study that has shown that. So, you know, I'm all about data. I'm very black and white when it comes to things. I do like to know the numbers behind it and the emotional side that goes along with it. Again, we can say rah rah and be the cheerleader all day long, but it is a fact that you do get better results when you're doing this. And I think a lot of people, when they go down the journey of conceiving, is they think, well, I'm going to I got this, right? I can do it on my own. I'm going to research it on my own. I'm going to work with my doctor. And most people can. And again, I say most because there is a large population that we know, 1 in 8 in the United States, 1 in 6 in Canada, et cetera, that don't have that. It's so easy. And that's where the people that we're talking to and the cousins and the sisters and the friends at school that are struggling to know you don't have to struggle alone. And there is such a thing as fertility coaches that can help you through your path, that will get you there faster because we're able to curate the information for you and guide you where you need to be. And in turn, you save money because you're not kind of spinning your wheels on all these other aspects of, do I do this? Do I go here, etc. And it's such a beautiful experience, no matter how you are ending up to help people on this journey. And you pointed out earlier when your friend did your intake form, you just kind of lit up to know this is what I'm meant to be doing. I don't even know what it if that this is a thing, but I need to help people on this journey. And I have found through my 15 years of life coaching myself that people who go into this field, they just know they're meant to be doing something like this,
Without a doubt. Like I just,
right?
yep.
Yeah. And I think that when you know you're on the right path, and whether that path changes, right? Right now it's fertility. Later, maybe you do switch to something else as your journey evolves for yourself. And that's okay too. I think we often think once I find my place, this is where I'm going to be forever. Life doesn't have to work that way. We have the ability to guide ourselves on where we feel we're best fit to align with the people that are around us. And I think that's also really beautiful because the coaching aspect can take you on many different paths, right? I mean, you're talking about your certified military spouse owned enterprise.
Yes.
That community needs so much support in many different ways that only you and those people that are in that environment
Understand.
know what is needed there, right? So I think that's the amazing thing about coaching is it can help all different aspects, and the formula and the model that we work through can help with anything, not just fertility. But the awesome part in what we do specifically for fertility is that it really helps to calm that nervous system and helps people get to their their rainbow baby, their positive pregnancy test,
The
whatever it
golden
is that
egg.
they're what's that?
I said their golden egg.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So I obviously get so excited about it because it's so same as you, very near and dear to my heart.
Sure.
But seeing the success of all these other coaches is really why I went into creating the academy, is to see that ripple effect in the world. And no matter what program you decide to go on, I think finding who and what you align with is what's most important. And we all have that inner sense of knowing, oh, I talked to that person or I saw that person, and yeah, I think that's my person, right? And I think that's really kind of always been my biggest message is just spreading that awareness around fertility, no matter who you go to get your information that's again curated, which I really believe is so important because we all kind of think we've been through it, we kind of have our own set of genius and our own experience. But can you tell a little bit about becoming certified and what you learned that maybe you didn't realize that you needed to learn or that there was still left to learn, because you had been on this journey for yourself quite a while as well, going through fertility?
Yes, I had been on the journey for a while, and I honestly wish now, like looking back, I feel like I needed a coach, you know. But a lot of the things that I learned um, is that I don't like to say women are necessarily infertile, but they're often told that at the doctor's
Right.
office
Yeah.
that's a thing. And I feel like, we need to, there's testing that can be done initially to kind of find out where you are. And that was a huge eye opener for myself because now I'm hearing about all these women, one woman has low vitamin D, everything else looks great. And I'm like, that's an issue. We need to fix that. We need to dive deeper to figure out what is going on with you. And I wouldn't have known to check your vitamin D, to check your thyroid, to check
Yeah.
all of these things initially, just to rule all of these things out before you get started, because it could save you so much money and so much time, so much heartache on your journey if some of these things are done before you even begin. So I think some of the things that I already knew, because I'd read, books about egg health and things like that. But
Yeah.
this just gave me a deeper understanding of all of those different areas to really try to hone in on where I need to go with a certain client, because all of my clients are different, you
Right.
know. And I feel like I've got like this intuitive aspect to my practice,
Which I
but
love. I'm all about the woo and the intuition and all that.
oh yeah, like I even had a dream about one of my clients. She gave, I know she's going to give birth. She gave birth to a darling little girl,
Oh,
and this girl was so intelligent. Like I remember that stood out to me in the dream. And we spoke and we met, and I said, listen, I think that you're really going to have a child. Like, I had this dream about her, about your daughter. And she's like, thank you so much for telling me that. I'm so appreciative. I don't want to scare anybody off, but I do believe in signs. I believe in my intuition, and I really feel, other things that I learned were, wow, I'm not a doctor, obviously, like I already knew that. But
Mm.
I think in the beginning, I was putting so much pressure on myself. I remember having a conversation with you about it, and you're
Yeah.
like, we need to stay in our lane. Like, that's not our lane. That's not
Yeah.
my specialty. I didn't go to school for that.
Yeah.
That's where, you tell your client, like, you need to go and, talk to your doctor about this and get tested for this or get tested for that. So those are a lot of the things that just really stood out to me with the program. But not only, the health aspect of everything, but you also have given us the confidence with your business portion of of the course, and which is so like supportive. And then you meet with us every other week for extra support, any questions that we have, any wins that we have, anything that we're stuck on. Like, you are always there, even if you can't meet with us through Zoom. You've got us on Voxer, where we can just message you and say, hey, I've got this thing going on, can you help me? And I don't know a lot about other programs that are out there, but I know because I am taking a course right now, and it's through the Hillsborough Community College for entrepreneurship, and it's an online course. I can message my instructor, but I don't have the same, connection and ways to connect with my instructor than I even do you. So
Right.
that's one of the other things that really just has helped me throughout this entire process.
Yeah. And speaking of entrepreneurship, I feel like you have talk about the road opening up for you and you kind of being aligned with what you're meant to be doing. You ended up leaving your 9 to 5 job pretty early on in this process of getting certified, if I remember correctly.
I did. I quit teaching. I resigned in
Yeah.
August of last year.
And that obviously is such a huge, huge step, but also the ripple effect for your life and how just things were starting to unfold so quickly for you after that because your energy was focused on making this what it is today for you. And I just want to say I am so proud of you and in awe of all the things that have come. And again, your wins are our wins, and it's so exciting to see and to anticipate all the amazingness that's going to continue to happen. But going out on your own as an entrepreneur, as I was going to say, is not not for the faint at heart, right? So it's
No.
one thing to say, okay, I'm going to be a fertility coach, but also how are we going to grow this as a business? I always say I'm in a double income family. It is important. I have to kind of bring my own weight to the table with what I'm
Mhm.
bringing in. So being an entrepreneur, but being successful at that is really important. And I think what I'm able to learn in the things that I do and then be able to pass that off to you guys and all these other things that like you've said, oh, I worked with so and so, and we're helping one of our other students to say you need to check this person out and whatever. That collaboration as a whole for everybody, just on a global level, even of lifting each other up and seeing the success of everyone together. And again, the beauty of the success in our industry is more babies, which is what gets better than that, is just really amazing to watch it all unfold. So thank you so much for sharing your story again and
Sure.
being such an inspiration to other women that are maybe on the fence about doing this and or needing a coach and not sure what that looks like in that
Sure.
process.
Listen, well, thank you for the community that you have provided for all of your students. I mean, it's been a great ride. I'm so happy with, it's a labor of love right now. I'm so happy that I chose your program. And any way that I can help you or inspire someone else to join your program, I'm in. I'm all
Oh,
in. So
awesome. Well, where can people find you, Nina, who are interested in what you're doing and working with you?
sure. So I'm at brookhavencoach.com, which is my website. I am also on Instagram. And I always forget this. So it's Brookhaven _ coach. So at Brookhaven _ coach.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful.
Yes.
Well, again, Nina is a plethora of information and all the amazing things. We didn't even get to touch on everything she's doing in this industry now. So please go and follow her so you can see everything that's unfolding, and reach out to either her or myself if you have any questions on Fertility Coach Academy and going down this road to help serve and support other men and women that are on their own fertility journey.
Yes, please reach out. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Creation Innovation Podcast. Make sure to follow us on Spotify for free episodes and subscribe to the Creation Innovation Podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you choose to get your podcast. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast wherever you're listening for a chance to receive a special gift. Yes, we actually do send out gifts. It's my favorite thing to do. So visit us at elizabethking.com/creation innovation for more information on how to enter. Every review counts, and we are so grateful. You can follow me at the official Elizabeth King on Instagram or TikTok. Until next time.